What's up, NASCAR Heat fans? David Land here, and welcome to the big one, Talladega. This race, I'm not sure what's going to happen. We had three very successful races at Dover, Charlotte, and then Kansas. Unfortunately, we only got really one good result at Charlotte. The other two, I got wrecked in the last couple laps and fell back. So now we're at Talladega, the longest track in NASCAR, and if there were no restrictor plates, would be the fastest track in NASCAR. But certainly there's going to be a lot of tight racing. I don't know how the AI are going to perform in this race, considering all of the rubber banding and whatnot that goes on. Usually they spread out during the race, but I don't know if the pack racing will have improved any. It's going to be very interesting. I'm expecting to qualify last year here, but I'm expecting also that this will be the best time to give out information. Of course, we're not in the chase, but this is an elimination race. 4 drivers will go home, or not go home, but be eliminated from the chase in this race. And you might want to watch the end of the last video to find out who those people are. I can't remember exactly who they are. But I do know that Kyle Busch, I believe, is locked into the next round as he won a race. I think Joey Logano won a race, so both of them are into the next round of the chase. Yeah, I'm just not sure what Talladega is going to bring, which I guess is par for the course with real life. Talladega is usually the unpredictable race of any NASCAR season, regardless of whether the chase is involved or not. I put some sponsors on the car, particularly the lap leader sponsorship. I'm expecting we will get good fuel mileage from this race, but who knows. I'm going to try to work with fuel saving, potentially lift off the gas in traffic and in the draft to try to gain fuel mileage, because I think I can possibly mileage into a win here. It's really just going to depend on what our pace is like in traffic here and in the draft. We're probably going to qualify last. It seems like you cannot qualify higher than last at a plate track, regardless of what you do in qualifying in this game. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Of course, not group qualifying, just a 2-lap run to see how fast you can get your restrictor plate engine up to a reasonable speed. And I would not describe a top speed of 186 miles an hour particularly reasonable, so I'm guessing we're going to see 40th as I cross the line right now. Yeah, 40th place.
It's time for NASCAR on NBC. Today we return to Talladega in the running of the Alabama 500. I'm Rick Allen, and today 8 drivers of the 12 remaining will advance to the next round of the chase. I'm sure the playoff drivers are nervous about getting caught up in the big one, which could end their championship dreams in the blink of an eye.
I really despise that they call NASCAR drivers playoff drivers. I hate the chase to begin with, but when you start calling it an actual playoff, it's kind of stupid. You don't play racing. Well, I guess I'm playing racing right now, but that ain't the point, son. Anyway, chase ranting aside, we are running in the draft here. Car's packing up fairly nicely here. We're going to have to see what the plate racing's like, and of course in this game as we move Yaley, I don't think that's Yaley, that's David Reagan. That 23 car changes every year, but this game, it's very difficult to move up from the back of the pack, so it's going to be a lot of patient driving, and not going too hard. And of course some people were making fun of me in the comments for doing stupid moves when I say, oh, I've got to be patient. You know, there is some entertainment value to these races. I mean, if I played everything completely conservatively all the time, would you guys truly be entertained and be interested for 40 minutes or however long these videos usually take? I question that. But anyway, we're in the draft here. Tony Stewart running at the back. That's actually pretty realistic. Back when he raced in stock cars and NASCAR, he would usually go right to the back of these plate races, and I almost spun off of him in the corner there. But from the last Talladega race, I can tell that our stability is a little bit better. I was having trouble in the last Talladega race with stability in the corners. And despite the fact that my car was waggling around there in turn 3, the car feels much better. Of course, we've made a lot of grip improvements since then, as I hit the wall very wisely. We've made a lot of grip improvements since then, so it should help the car out just a little bit. But obviously, we're not going to be able to make too many passes. Again, restrictor plate engines don't lend themselves easily to passing. They lead to just kind of holding where you are, as you can see right here. This is going to be a difficult race, I'm expecting. It's not going to be particularly one of these races where I think we're going to have a... Well, this is Bobby Labonte moving up. We are trying to make it 4 wide here. And... no, okay. So we'll just get back in line behind Kane here. Running his draft a bit. We have moved up a little bit. I mean, we've moved up, what, 5 positions or whatever. So it's not terrible right now. Again, my goal here is a fuel strategy race, or a fuel strategy run. And we're not going to know how good our fuel mileage is really until, you know, the rest of the field starts peeling off into the pits. So it's really just, to me, is going to be running in the draft, not losing the draft, and then keeping the fuel mileage reasonable. So this is a good run here, around the outside, up into 33rd, around to Benedetto. And we're going to pass Allmendinger as well. Looks like everybody's moving to the bottom, so it'll be interesting to see if we can move up to the field once people, or once the pack kind of moves to the bottom. And we'll run in behind Mr. Ellis here. Bump drafting is pretty ineffective in this game, I must say. So we'll go 3 wide as we run our fastest lap of the race, drafting with Ellis. Gotta be very careful there in the 3 wide predicament I was in there. And now Ellis falls behind, so no problem. And we'll keep soldiering on up the field here. We're trying to get around Michael Annette and retired Scott. Perhaps we can make that move into turn 3. Nope, not really. Try to get a little bit of side draft there. But nothing doing. Ooh, that was very close there with Mr. Annette. And more side draft off of Brian Scott. I do appreciate that the side draft works in this game. But it's a little... not terribly effective, I will say that. I mean, Brad Keselowski, in at least the last couple plate races I've watched, Brad Keselowski makes the side draft incredibly effective. It's kind of masterful to watch, really. Pretty impressive stuff. Certainly, he's probably one of the better plate racers that still races in NASCAR from just a purely understanding the draft and being able to pass people perspective. I think Brad Keselowski's probably one of the best ones, and I would imagine he's running up at the front of this race. I don't think I've passed him. I know there's a couple of big names back there, like Stewart and Kane, but I think the majority of the chasers are running up at the front here. And I've got to continue in this draft here, because otherwise I'm going to kind of lose the pack up here. Kind of definitely much more of a 90s plate race looking like, rather than a modern plate race. The field's spreading out quite a bit. And this is just the way this game operates. Car going very slow there. Kyle Larson in trouble. And we got to make a big move down to the inside of Regan Smith. Split Kyle Larson. And, okay, so we gained 2 more positions there, up to 27th. And let's see if we can hook onto the back of Danica here. See what the fuel mileage is like. 8 laps to go on the fuel. So we'll make our first stop around lap number 15 of 47. And of course, you may notice the Visine on the back of the car. The only way I get the sponsorship money, which I think is around 20 grand from Visine, is to lead a lap. So right now, running in 27th, ain't doing that. So that's kind of why I've chosen we're not chosen, but I'm hoping to get a little bit of fuel mileage or fuel strategy to go my way in this race, so that at the very least I may be able to strategery my way into the lead of this thing. Of course, again, I'm going to complain about this a lot, but the restrictor plate racing is not conducive to passing. So if you do fall behind like we have, and it really hasn't been any fault of our own, we've kind of, you know, we've been moving up through the field, the pack is just spread out, and once the pack spreads out like this, you run into trouble getting back through the field. You just kind of get stuck in the little rut that you're in. Obviously there's a little bit of a pack going on, about three or four cars ahead of us, but it's not really tightly packed, and I don't think that they're really going to be holding each other up very much up there. So this is going to be a bit difficult. I really wish I wish there was an option in NASCAR Heat. Just turn the plates off. Let's run 220 miles an hour around here and actually have a race. But that's not what they want to do in this game. They just want to keep the plates on and keep it fairly tame. As we'll continue to run around the bottom here. And here we go. Really? Cars already pitting? Good lord, we got 6 laps still to go. Okay, fuel mileage. Didn't put us into the lead. There's still a car out in front. So we don't get the Visine money just yet, but we're going to see what the rubber banding is like with AJ Allmendinger, I believe, is the car directly behind us. Who is the leader? It's Kurt Busch. So Kurt Busch leads the race from myself and AJ Allmendinger. So this will be interesting. I wonder if everybody pitted just because of the fact that you want to pit with the pack on a plate race, or at least the theory is you want to pit with the pack on a plate race. We'll have to wait and see what this leads to. But obviously, I can get some Visine money for this, so that's all good. And I believe Allmendinger should be coming in as well. Yeah, we're going to stay out. We're going to lead this thing. We're going to Greg Biffle this thing, guys. We are going to Greg Biffle it. And hopefully this time NASCAR will not take a win away from us for being creative and clever. But the last 2 races they kind of have, so they'd be 3 for 3 in the last 3 races. And thankfully, that's kind of lucky, but the cars kind of come out right ahead of us, so we'll get the benefit of the draft in the pack. And in fact, no, we kind of fell back from where we were positioned in the pack, 3 wide into turn number 3 there with Castle and Almirola. So hopefully McDowell will give us a little bit of help here, help us get back up through the pack. We're just running this draft for now. No real big issues for me. I can just cruise, and we still got 4 laps before we have to come in. So we just ran our fastest lap of the race in the draft with all these other fine gentlemen. I'm sure the car is running light. We won't have to take tires either now that I think about it. We can do a fuel-only stop, I would imagine. Yeah, tire wear not bad at all. As of course it is a plate race, so don't have to worry about it. You know what, I think I will do right sides, maybe. I don't know if I want to do right sides or not. But a big draft off of Buescher. And in fact, McDowell's going to go down to the inside, so it may have been a bad mistake by me to allow him back underneath. Because now I'm not on the bottom of the track, because I'm going to need to be on the bottom near the end of the stint to be able to head off into the pits. Fastest lap of the race once again, as we had a lot of help from draft in that on that lap. So running behind McDowell, we've definitely got the pace in the draft, but we just once we pull out of the draft, we run into issues. So let's see if we can get around here. Fuel alarm is on. 2 laps to go on the fuel. Should I come in now or wait? I do not know. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to come in now because reasons. On the brakes. Alright, that was the most sloppy pit entry I've ever seen in my whole life. We're doing right side tires, adding a little bit of tape to the grill, full fuel load, 2 cans of fuel. And we're going to see where we come out. Have cars passed us? Yes, cars are passing us on the track. 10.9 on the pit stop. And we got 14 laps of fuel. And we fall into 12th place. But not terrible. Not a terrible place to be right now. Because I think cars have already come back into the pits. So we are right back in this thing. I added, like I said, I added a little bit of tape to the grill. So try to improve our straight line speed a little bit by restricting airflow into the engine. Going to run a little bit hotter, but hopefully this will aid us a little bit in the racing. I'm not sure what is going to happen with the, running in traffic, as we're beginning to run in traffic now, and AJ Allmendinger is starting to push us. I think, wow, we just, I think we really just ran a really good strategy right there. We moved up to 13th on fuel strategy. Man, oh man, that is awesome. So Allmendinger helping us. I'm not even concerned about losing positions because we're running a completely different race than these guys are. And we'll run in the draft of Bain. Now we're going to get really helped here. I'm a little bit worried what the oil temperature is going to do since my decision to go with more tape. But we're really getting a big toe off of Trevor Bain here. He's helping us immensely right now. Of course, he's a Ford, I'm a Ford, so the Fords have to work together, I suppose. So thank you, Trevor Bain, for that. And if we can just keep on his draft here and not lose it, we're going to be in really good shape. Because the more we get pulled around the track by these fast guys, the better our track position is going to be exiting the pits. Our fastest lap of the race once again, aided by Bain. Here comes Ryan Newman up behind, so he's going to give us a little push from behind as well. So it's going to be, as usual, you would think Talladega, crazy race, 3-4 wide racing. I think this race is interesting for a different reason, in that there's really strategy at play here. It's definitely going to be a question of who is going to have the right strategy. Is pitting early and often the right strategy, or is pitting late, like I was, a better strategy? We're just going to have to wait and find out. But we are getting another heck of a tow here off of Ryan Newman. We might actually crack 190 miles an hour. Let's see, 87. Once again, our fastest lap of the race. Newman is really flying, though. He's really going. It's weird. We got comers and goers in a plate race, which is kind of strange. Everything's good. So 10 laps on the fuel. That'll put us at lap 27. So with 30 laps to go, that's what we're going to be dealing with. Looks like Carl Edwards coming. No, that's Kyle Busch in the Snickers car that you may not have seen very much of in the fall Talladega race because he ran at the back the whole time. Thanks, Chase. The Chase, I should say, not Chase. That has two different meanings in NASCAR now. So up to 5th, Allmendinger once again pushing us. It's literally a repeat of the last stint. And probably Kurt Busch, yes, is the leader by 15 seconds. So it almost looks like Kurt Busch has got the leg up on the field here in terms of being able to stretch the fuel and his lead on the field. The question, of course, is going to be, will there be a yellow? And if there is a yellow, what is the call going to be? What is the strategy going to be? Because, of course, the field's going to get bunched up again, and overtaking is going to be incredibly difficult as cars are going to be 3 wide, 2 wide, and all that fun stuff. So we're going to take the lead from Kurt Busch. He came in the pits. Allmendinger is staying out with me. Now, I don't know if this strategy is a good one from AJ, but he's helping us out tremendously. He almost got taken out by, or LePaged, I should say, not just taken out, but LePaged. There is a term for that. He almost got LePaged by De Benedetto there, but thankfully he did not, and he remains our drafting partner as we go down the backstretch here. We didn't get quite the benefit that we did the last time on the pit strategy with a nice drafting partner right out the box. We'll have to catch up. Hopefully Allmendinger can make it one more lap, though I suspect he will not. I suspect he's going to come into the pits this time. We got a 26-second lead over Kurt Busch right now. And yes, Allmendinger pulls off. He could not maintain the fuel any longer. And there are still cars peeling out of the pit, so we may be able to benefit here by at least one car going slow, maybe a couple, to be able to keep drafting up on some of these guys. See if we can catch Bobby Labonte here, who looks to be the most potential drafting partner right now. Did we get any draft? Yeah, a little bit, Controller vibrated just a little bit. It's really tough to pick up a draft, though, from this far back. And certainly Austin Dillon, who just took the lead, is closing in quite rapidly. We've still got 7 laps on the fuel, though, so plenty of time to stay out. Really no reason to come in. Because, of course, why would you come in for a pit stop when you don't need to? De Benedetto running in behind us. He's going to give us that draft from the behind. So we'll at least be able to run a race pace, or a decent race pace, at least for now. As he drafts up behind us. And hopefully we can actually start gaining a little bit, though I suspect we're not going to have too terribly much pace. Let's see. That's the wrong menu. So Austin Dillon 24 seconds and gaining on me. In fact, I wonder when the back of the field is actually going to get lapped. Because I don't know what position De Benedetto's in. I would imagine he's in 30th, somewhere around there. So maybe there won't be lapping during this race. Kyle Larson's still in the pits. His day is pretty bad, to say the least. So 26 laps down. I think we'll be getting the halfway mark pretty soon here. If it hasn't crossed already. It's possible that we've already crossed the halfway mark and I just wasn't paying attention when the spotter said it. I think the pit stop delta is not quite 22 seconds, unfortunately. So we'll lose the lead when we come in and make our stop. And again, I may just not even change tires, period. Looking at and there's a yellow. There is a yellow. So, makes sense to come in and pit now, I think. And be able to do 4 tires, do fuel, come out at the back, but be able to race and hopefully have the strategy even out so we can cross the line on fumes. Alright, so we're only 29th. Because other cars pitted under that yellow. So that means we're going to be on a few cars going to be on our strategy, despite the fact that we get way better fuel mileage than they do. So we're back to racing. 22 laps to go. Don't need to be looking at the tires anymore. 13 laps on the fuel. And that's going to put us at lap 39. So we should be able to make the finish on one more stop. By my calculations, which may be completely wrong. So now I know how this race is going to play out, so I don't need to be too aggressive here on this restart, as the rest of the pack is trying to be very aggressive. But I know that we have fuel mileage over these guys, and fuel mileage is the key. But for those of you who enjoy pack racing and have stuck around for this long, you get a little bit of pack racing.
Still there?
And in fact, we're making some decent moves here. Up through the field, do a little bit of lifting there. Don't need to drive Regan Smith into the corner for no reason.
Still there?
We'll hang underneath Labonte. Be a little bit careful. I'm trying to hold my line spotter. I had to move to the outside there. In fact, we're actually making up some places here. Don't get confident, David. Confidence is not necessarily a virtue at a plate track. And underneath of Landon Castle, just a little bit of a lift there. If anything, that's just going to help our fuel mileage. Wow, we are really moving up through the field here. This is kind of unexpected. I was not expecting that. I guess everybody's on old tires because most of the field did not come into the pits. That was a bit illegal. Thankfully, this game does not penalize you for going under the yellow line. But I'm going to try to respect that rule as best I can. Ooh, that was me getting into Almirola, and Kyle Busch is in trouble. Kyle Busch in trouble. He's falling through the field. You saw there. He was in trouble. I don't know how many more ways I can say it, but Kyle Busch in trouble. He's well, I think he's locked into the chase. So, regardless of the fact that he had problems right there, he's going to maintain that his chase position for the next round. But now the field is spread out thanks to Kyle. Car coming into the pits already. Who is that? Austin Dillon. So one of the leaders, one of the fellas leading this thing, peels off. We've got 11 laps to go on our fuel and 19 laps to go. So we'll have to pit with 8 laps to go, and we'll be able to make it to the end of the race. In fact, we can probably short fill a little bit. I'm not going to be too aggressive on the short filling. I think we'll only do 1.5 cans of fuel. That should be more than enough to get to the end, plus some green-white checkers. But I think right sides and 1.5 cans of fuel will save us a little bit of time in the pits and hopefully be able to just get us to the end without problems. Now, when is everybody else going to have to pit? And here come a lot of the field. Now, Joey Logano is ahead of us. I believe he's the car directly in front. And Logano pitted with us. So he's going to be at least a couple laps. He's going to have to pit a couple laps before us. So that's a bit concerning. I won't be able to lead a lot in the next few laps, unless, of course, we get back up to Logano and are able to pass him. But who knows? It's weird, too, because here's something I want to point out about the plate racing. Did you notice it was actually pretty good plate racing there for like a split second, and then one car kind of split off with Kyle Busch having his trouble, and now suddenly the field's totally spread out? I don't know why that is or what causes that problem, but it's very strange. We got a slow car down low. It's Casey Mears. I think it's because everybody's peeling off, but that's awful slow for Casey Mears. So now we're battling with McFlurry here. Danica just about turned us in the tri-oval there. I'm glad she didn't. That would have been rage-inducing. And trying not to get LePaged here. Jimmy Johnson really fell back on that restart. You may have noticed him go way high on the initial restart and fall back. So he's way back here with a lot of the back markers as we battle with McMurray for second in the lap traffic. Do a little bit of bump drafting. We hit 190. We hit 190 miles an hour. And the car is really hooked up right now. It feels very strong. Actually felt really strong on that restart too. Logano leads by 3 seconds, but I'm not concerned about that. At the moment, at least. In fact, I think all the people who are racing with me right now, McMurray and Logano, are the other 2 cars that pitted on my sequence. So it's going to be interesting to see if they pit, how much earlier they need to pit than I do. And it's a bit unfortunate that Logano has that 3-second lead, because it almost negates the advantage I had from not pitting so late, or being able to pit so late.
Still there?
We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe Logano who steals this race, but we may get a really good finish here. And that's really what matters at this point. I mean, we're not racing for a championship this year, so it's not... That's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is start stringing together consistent finishes and consistently race at the front, and that's what we're doing. It's all good right now. So big time draft off of McMurray. Still running with him. Not making much progress, but we're really stringing together some good laps here, some solid fast laps. As Logano continues to pull away, which is kind of concerning. McDowell is 1.8 seconds behind, and he's the other car on this strategy of ours. So it's me, Logano, McMurray, and McDowell, all racing for what is essentially the win, from what my calculations are able to bring us, or what I'm able to calculate myself, is how this race is going to turn out. But you just never know. It could be completely different. And we move around. Oh, that's almost a crash there as a car came out and LePaged somebody. Thankfully, the yellow did not come out, because if a yellow comes out, our strategy is pretty much down the toilet, from what I can tell. So we're working with Almirola here. 6 laps to go on the fuel. Almirola's going fairly slow there. We'll let Jimmy Johnson push us a little bit. Obviously, he's got a fast car, as you can probably well imagine. We're working well right now with this style of plate racing, this very unique style of plate racing, as Logano comes in. So we'll take the lead. And like I was saying, the very unique style of plate racing this game offers, where it's weird. It's weird, but once you get the hang of it, I suppose, you can lead races like I am right now. So we got 5 laps left on the fuel. 13 to go. In fact, we're going to come in with 7 laps to go rather than 8 laps to go. So our fuel mileage is excellent, actually. And I almost got turned by Johnson there. I'll let him go by, and then we'll draft with him rather than have him draft with us. So he pushed him a little bit high there. It was a bit cheeky on my part. But he's got a fast hot rod, so we'll work with JJ here. And he's really pushing Almirola there. So obviously Jimmy's got a hot rod that's running in 32nd place. Excuse me. 4 laps to go. So yeah, we're back to 8 laps now on the. Or we'll have to stop at lap 8, or 8 laps to go. Not lap 8. Good lord. Lap 8 was a while ago there, David. Engine is running a little bit hot. Jimmy Johnson's going to get free here, which will allow us, hopefully, to pass Almirola. No, he got blocked. The pack is forming up quite a bit. In this little bit of track, anyway. And of course, when I make my pit entry, I'm going to have to try a little bit harder to not completely screw up this time. So running behind Jimmy here. Can you actually pass him this time, Jimmy? No? In fact, Almirola is going to make the move to the outside. And which driver's moving? Which driver's moving? Again, I don't really want to get caught on the outside if at all possible. So Jimmy goes down to the inside. We'll go with Jimmy. Should make the 3 wide pass here on Buescher. Or not a 3 wide pass, because Almirola was a little bit faster. Car going very slow on the inside. It's Danica. We all avoided her. No problem. Boy, a lot of mechanical failures in this race. Kind of surprising. It's kind of something you would expect out of the mid-2000s Talladega races, not so much these days. I guess, well then again, tell Martin Truex that. Okay, 10 to go. We're going to have to make our fuel stop this time by. And just as we start actually making progress through this little pack here. Okay. So it's going to be right sides. 1.5 cans of fuel. And that's the strategy to take us to the end of this race. Now see, I'm making progress here and I have to back off because I've got to get into the pits and not crash. That is kind of the key. I understand that, Spotter. I understand that. So peeling off. In fact, we're peeling off with some cars.
Slow down.
Ooh.
We got the black flag.
I got penalized. Really? Now, are they going to enforce this penalty on the pit stop? Yeah, they are. So, we'll lose 24 seconds. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know how this is going to go. Waiting. This is an eternity. Well, we're still leading the race. That's the thing. We just lost it. And back out on track. So where is Logano? That's the guy we're racing. Oh, that was excruciating. And I think I was like just a few miles an hour over the speed limit. And I just got taken out by Jimmy Johnson. Oh, really? Well, things go from bad to worse, as they usually do in NASCAR Heat. Jimmy Johnson just completely ran into the back of me, no doubt about it. How bad's the damage? Not too bad. We got 12 laps of fuel. So it does take into account a green-white checker, I believe. At least one. Would there be a yellow? We're running an 18th. Should be a little bit higher, but we don't have a drafting partner, which is a bit concerning. I really wish I hadn't sped in the pits. That's unfortunate. But we're just going to have to deal with it. There's cars in the pits. So again, where is Logano? That is the question. Logano's placement, and in fact, the rest of those guys' placement as well. I think it was McMurray and McDowell as well. So if those guys are ahead of me, we're in trouble. If those guys are behind me, we're golden. Still, despite the fact that we got a speeding penalty. In fact, we're going to have a good position. We're going to have a good, assuming there is not a green, white, freaking checkered. We are in really good shape here. We're in really good shape. It's, you just don't know with this game. You just don't know. It's as unpredictable as real NASCAR is in terms of their officiating. There are cars peeling off. These should be Buescher and Scott at least. And yes, we are passing them. So how many cars did we overtake? Kane, Blaney, Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, and then Logano are the leaders. And they're 18 seconds up the road. So even if I hadn't had the penalty, I wouldn't have the lead. So we're going to have to rely on fuel strategy regardless. So if they have to come in, we'll win the race. If we don't have to come in, or if they don't have to come in, we'll finish 5th. Or at least 5th. It's possible that Denny Hamlin will catch us before the end. With how many laps to go here? 6 laps to go. Denny will probably catch us. It just depends if we can block him or not. Is going to be the real key to this race. At the moment, yeah. Hamlin will definitely catch us by the end. Of course, he could have to pit again. At this point, who knows how it's going to be. And Allmendinger is in. Allmendinger is in the pit, so we'll move up to 4th. 4th position. 6 laps to go. Hamlin closing in. About a 10th every few or 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah, he's already in the rearview mirror too. Don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but I certainly can on my big screen here. So maybe a battle with Hamlin here for the end. I just do not know how this is going to happen, or how this is going to work here at the end. Got 3 laps to go, or 3 cars to go. I wish it was 3 laps to go. It's more like 5 laps to go. And we'll just watch that little monitor there, as that's going to tell us what's happening. As McDowell and McMurray, I think, are in the pits. So we will go around both of those guys. And Logano comes out of the pits ahead of us. Logano comes out of the pits ahead of us. So we've got to battle with Joey Logano. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go, folks. Well, this is it. Oh no, it's not, because we got a yellow. I'm not going to pit. We're going to chance it, and we're going to go for the win. All right, this is the best opportunity we've ever had at a victory. Green, white checker, attempt 1 of 1.
Race is going green.
Race is on. Race is underway. We're racing once again at Talladega. Do we get the shift point right? We're going to be very bullyish to Joey Logano. We got a block Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well. Jamie McMurray to the outside. Oh, Kurt Busch behind. We're going to have to block 3 lanes of traffic here. And we can't block McMurray. Cannot block McMurray. He is there. He's going to get around, so we're going to have to draft with him. Oh, here comes Kurt Busch as well. Big push on the outside here of the pack. Oh, I just couldn't hold on. Just could not block 3 lanes of traffic, so we're falling behind Busch. We're going to come to the white flag. The next flag is going to end this thing. Here we go. Genuinely nervous here. Am I moving too quick here? I'm coming up through the field. I'm past Kurt Busch. White flag at Talladega. The race is going to come down to the last corner, as it usually does at Talladega. I've got to time this move properly. I have got to time this right to get around McMurray. Do I go now? Do I go now? Oh, it's so... Here we go. Okay, so we're going to make the move. We're going to try. We don't have that draft anymore. Oh, no, it's the big one on the last lap. We saved it. No, we didn't. And there it is. There it is. Ugh. Oh, my gosh. Well, 36th. Racing for the win at Talladega. I moved too soon at the end. I moved too soon. So a 36th place finish, obviously not the result we were looking for. Jamie McMurray wins under the caution. I'm just I don't know. I think I'm going to call this series 36 ways to lose in NASCAR Heat. Because I don't know what I'm going to have to do to win this race. It's just unbelievable. Obviously, we did get some sponsorship money. Obviously, not all the sponsorship money we wanted to win. Oh, so close. 52 grand. And we'll take a look at the points here. We probably didn't improve. In fact, we probably lost positions, I would imagine. Oh, you're going to stay in 30th. And you can actually see the replay in the background of the move there at the very end of the race. I think I just came down on Logano there and lost it. Kurt Busch was able to save it, just barely. I wish I would have been able to, but I was unable to, and then crash into all the back markers there. So there you go. Let's head back to the shop and repair the damage. So from a wild one at Talladega to the slowest track in NASCAR, Martinsville Speedway. It's a short track, so we may be in for a really good shot at finally getting our first win, but I wouldn't put my money on it, because just it seems like I've been able to fail in every possible way. So these are the drivers who were able to advance to the round of 8. And the drivers who got knocked out were Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. In fact, he did get knocked out. Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer. So unfortunate for those guys, but good for these guys. And these will be the guys who are racing for that championship 4 spot. So hope to see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I wish I would have won this one. It was very close. I wish it would have at least gone down to the last lap, but oh well. Thank you guys again. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video.